Dune Chapter 9, The Haunting Realization. Claire stared into the dark void of her son's eyes. She could hardly breathe, her body frozen in terror. This wasn't Ethan. Not anymore. The house had claimed him, just like the figures beneath the bed, just like the shadows that lurked in the corners. But she couldn't give up. Not yet. She grabbed Ethan's arm, trying to pull him toward the door, but his body felt different now, cold, heavier, almost resisting her touch. "Ethan, please," she begged, her voice breaking. We need to go. You have to fight this." For a fleeting moment, something flickered in Ethan's eyes. A glimmer of the boy she knew. His lips trembled, and a weak, distant voice escaped. "Mom, help me." Before she could react, the light in his eyes vanished once again, consumed by the darkness. His head snapped toward her, his face twisted into that same grotesque grin from earlier. "Too late," he whispered, the voice no longer his own. Claire's heart raced as she stepped back, her mind swirling in disbelief. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she couldn't leave him. He was her son. She wouldn't abandon him, no matter what had taken hold of him. Chapter 10. A Mother's Desperation. As Claire frantically searched the house for a way to break the curse, she remembered something her grandmother had once told her about the old legends surrounding haunted houses. They were stories she'd never taken seriously, dismissed as folklore. But now, in the midst of this nightmare, they seemed like her only hope. "There's always a way to break the curse," her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. "But you must face the darkness head-on without fear." Claire didn't know if she could do that. Fear was all she felt. But what choice did she have? In the kitchen, she grabbed the sharpest knife she could find and held it tightly, hoping that somehow it would protect her. She made her way back upstairs, where the shadows had grown even thicker, pulsating with a malevolent energy that seemed to feed off her terror. Ethan, or whatever he had become, was sitting on his bed staring at the wall. The figure beneath the bed had returned, its shadowy form stretching out across the floor, crawling toward her with an eerie silence. Claire took a deep breath, steeling herself. She had to finish this. Chapter 11. Confronting the Darkness. She stepped closer to the bed, her knuckles white as she gripped the knife. "You won't take him," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I won't let you." The figure beneath the bed paused for a moment as if considering her words. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, it began to rise. The darkness twisted and warped, taking on a more human shape. A tall, faceless figure, its body composed of swirling shadows and whispers. Claire's pulse quickened as she raised the knife, but before she could strike, the figure spoke, its voice a low, guttural rasp. "He's already ours. You can't save him." The shadows around the room began to close in, suffocating the air, pressing against her chest like invisible hands. The knife felt useless in her hand, a mere object in the face of such overwhelming power. But she couldn't give up. Not now. Not when Ethan's life was at stake. "I will save him," she growled through gritted teeth, stepping toward the shadowy figure. "Even if I have to take you with me." With a surge of adrenaline, Claire lunged at the figure, thrusting the knife into the swirling darkness. The shadow let out a deafening screech as it recoiled, its form dissolving into a cloud of smoke that billowed around the room. But as the shadow faded, so did the light in the room. The house plunged into complete darkness once more, and Claire was left standing alone, the knife shaking in her hand.